Well, hey everyone, it's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, TuneIn Radio, or Google Play so you get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our patrons, Demon Hunter 2, Aggie Jedi Master, Electric Water Boy, Joshua the Geocaching Vlogger, Cashley, One Kind Word, Ravenclaw Tia, Terminator 18, Butterfly Girl, Jane Jewel, the Aussie Geocacher, the GeoGear Heads, Sodak Zach, the Deadliest Cachers, Terrell 2, Neil Moore, Molly the Geocaching Dog, Team D&D, Geocaching Adam, Peachy 1276, the No Code Geocachers, Curiosity Girl, Tick Magnet, Marsipanic, Bricker John, Firesafe, Doc Firewoman, FS Sabero, Geo Rick, Cash Addict Mel, Geocaching Janji, the Geocaching Junkie. I need to put those in separate little spots because they're hard to say. Sir Drumalot, Genies, Tricassius, Tom Free, and Rugels. If you'd like to become a patron, head over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get path tags, coins, other geocaching swag during the year, as well as invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Well, let me start by welcoming my co-host, Sydney.
Hello, everyone.
And Jesse.
Good evening, everybody.
And we're going to jump right in because we've got a lot to talk about tonight on show 67, on September 24th, as we welcome Shanise Jordan to the show. Welcome to Geocache Talk.
Oh, thank you so much, Gary. Hey, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here.
This is great. Now, we do need to mention, people are like, what is that noise we're hearing? Well, that background noise is from Sweet Touch. There we go. Sweet Touch Coffee patrons. Welcome, Sweet Touch Coffee, to the show. So we'll be okay. Shanise had to find a spot for the show, and she's got this one. So she's got a nice background, though. Shanise, you have a nice background right now.
It's true. And I have the chai tea latte to match.
Awesome. A little chai tea latte from Sweet Touch Coffee. So. That's awesome. All right. Well, we're going to do a couple news items, and we'll jump right into some other things. So today until October 1st is Cito Week. And I guess, did Cito Week start yesterday, Sydney, or was that?
Yeah, because I went to an event yesterday, and I got my thing.
Get your souvenir.
So.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Cito this week.
Nice.
And you picked up how many pieces of trash?
Well, you saw one. You saw the video on Twitter. I did one. No, I did more than that. But that's my first Cito, and I have to admit that. I know it's bad to say because as a geocacher, I should have done many Citos.
Your first ever that you've been to?
My first ever I've been to.
Really?
Yes. It's just always, timing has always been bad. And so, anyway, today was a little bad, but we made it over there. And we went and did the Cito after we did some other non-geocaching events, which is interesting because Joshua flew down. Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, flew down and stayed with me for the weekend. We went to Bash 4. It's the Munzie thing. But we met a lot of geocachers when we were munzieing. And it was a great weekend. We went to Oktoberfest, which is really odd. It's really hot in McKinney. But we still had an Oktoberfest with the German bands and people dressed up in German. And it was huge. But it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. And so we made it to a Cito and did some other caching. Joshua filmed quite a few of them, so we're looking forward to, or you guys should look forward to some really good videos from Joshua coming up in the near future. So he went to Tombstone, Jesse. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, and we filmed that at the oldest cache in Texas. So that it was interesting. The day we were there was very interesting, and I didn't know if you know this, Jesse, but we found an easy way in and out that we missed when you and I were there.
That would have been nice to know.
Right, it would have been. Jesse and I did it the hardest way you could probably get to it, and you'll see it on the video. I don't want to spoil any more about it, but anyway. And a reminder about International Earth Cache Weekend, which is October 8th and 9th. And I know, Sydney, you're probably really fired up for this one.
I'm just excited that you get an extra day to get it, because I know some people, for whatever reason, can't go out on a Sunday, or some people can't find an Earth Cache within an hour's drive of them. So it's good that you have that extra day this year.
Yeah, very cool. And then coins are still for sale. Here's the coin that we're selling, and I usually put it right here in front of the logo. So there's $17 US, they're $23 international, and we're almost to a point where we're gonna not be available to sell anymore pretty soon. So if you want to buy one, go ahead and buy one. If you're a patron, of course, you get them shipped to you free. So. All right, enough of that. We're going to jump right in and talk to Shanise about several topics. So, Shanise, I stole some stuff off IMDb, but you wrote it, so you were able to kind of be careful about what you want on there. So I'm only going to talk about a little bit of it, or ask you a little bit of it. So,
absolutely.
So you were born and raised in Vancouver, Washington.
This is true.
Yeah.
Vancouver, Washington. The funny thing,
yeah.
Your cache. What was
he wrote.
gentleman?
He's the Cachely app.
Yes.
Cachely. Mm-hmm.
Also from here in Vancouver, Washington, and we live in the same area. So now I'm gonna have to find him like a geocache right now.
Yes, exactly. That would be perfect, And yeah, you both are in Vancouver, so that's crazy. I mean, what a small world.
Such a small world.
So yeah, Cachely, one of our sponsors and patron, Nick's wonderful. He has the best app for geocaching, and so it's crazy, Vancouver, Washington. So, but growing up there, tell us a little bit about Vancouver.
Yeah, so Vancouver, Washington, for those who don't know, is not Vancouver, Canada, because every time I say I'm from Vancouver, Washington, people are like, "Oh, Vancouver's so cool." I'm like, "You're definitely talking about Canada." Right. Vancouver, Washington is 20 minutes outside of Portland, Oregon, so it's a suburb of Portland. We were right across the Columbia River, and it was a very normal sort of, I don't want to say easy life. I mean, but yeah, relatively easy place to grow up in, had great schools, and I did sports and choir and all of that fun stuff, and I started performing here. I started singing. That's when I started getting into the performing arts. I was a singer. I wanted to be an opera singer. So, I took voice lessons, and I was in a million choirs and quartets and things like that all the time, doing solos and la la la. And that was kind of what occupied most of my time growing up here. But I will say one thing, that it rains like 9 months out of the year here, legitimately. So if you don't like the rain, then don't come here. But if you don't mind it, then it's actually nice. I like the smell of the rain. And I'm personally excited that fall is upon us. However, it is going to be randomly 80 degrees again this week, and I'm not exactly sure why that's happening. Well, actually, I guess I am. It's hashtag global warming, unfortunately.
Right. There you go. I mean, we got weird weather going on all over.
So many things.
So then you moved to Orlando.
I did.
What drew you to Orlando, Florida? Other than Orlando, Florida.
I know.
It's sunny.
Right, the Sunshine State for one. No, the thing that actually got me to go to Orlando was Disney. So I did this thing called the Disney College Program. It's an internship you can do when you're in college, or if you're just graduating college. And you get to go and you get to work in the parks, and you get to meet people your age that are excited about Disney, and also sort of entrepreneurial. They want to have Disney on their resume because that looks great. Right. And they also offer tons of super fun events for you know, college age kids to like bond, like different social gatherings. So it just seemed like, you know, at that point, I actually had just found out that I had nodules in my vocal cords. So I was, yeah, it was crazy. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, you know, because I was like, well, I can't be an opera singer with nodules because it's already such a small sect as it is, you know, that particular side of performance. So I was doing some self-exploring, and I was like, you know what, why don't I just get out of the Northwest for a little bit? And, you know, I love Disney, so why don't I just go try this? And, you know, it was a 9-month program. And I was like, then I can just reevaluate from there. And I got down to Orlando and had a blast and met some amazing people and started realizing that Orlando is actually a great city to pursue the arts in. There's, you know, there's theater, there's independent and student films, there's the theme parks, there's commercials, you know, and it's not too far from Atlanta or Miami. You wanted a little bit bigger market too. So it seemed kind of a good place to figure out what I wanted to do, because at that point I knew that I still wanted to be involved in performing arts. I just didn't know at what capacity yet.
Right.
So I stayed down there and worked and started going to school at Valencia Community College. And then I heard about this. I had randomly looked up some auditions, and I reached out to a director that was doing a TV pilot for this series. His name is Teddy Omar, and he's an Orlando native, but he lives up in Atlanta now. But he's amazing. And he wrote this pilot for a series called Almost Famous, and it's about these 3 actor best friends that were trying to, you know, get something going. And I played like the ditzy girl that loved one of them, you know, like that was like the flavor of the week, I guess. And so I was like, whatever, you know what, let me try this film thing out. Let me see what's going on, you know? And so I went to the audition, and I totally vibed with the other actors and the director. And he was like, yeah, you know what, like if you're interested, I want to give you the part. So I did that. And these guys told me about a studio in Orlando called Truthful Acting Studios. And they were having a free acting industry seminar, and they were like, you know, why don't you just go check it out? And I was like, okay, why not? So I did. And it was one of those feelings like I'm home. Like I literally walked into the studio and was like, holy crap, this is where I'm supposed to be. You know, it's like the angels like parted. Like,
Right.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So yeah, so then I started taking some acting classes, and, you know, it's been a roller coaster ever since. That's for sure.
Yes, that's awesome. Go ahead, Sydney.
So you mentioned Disney, but you've also worked at Universal, right? Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
I did, yeah. So at Universal Studios, I got involved on the entertainment side there. And the first thing I did was their Halloween event called Halloween Horror Nights. It's basically the best Halloween event in the nation. So if you haven't gone, you gotta go. No, but so fun fact, actually, I'm a total scaredy pants, and like I can't get through a scary movie without like having a nightmare the next like night. Or if it like really jostles me, I have to like watch a Disney movie with the lights on afterwards in order to like calm down from it.
To reset your body, you reset your brain a little bit, right?
Exactly.
You worked at Universal Studios and the horror stuff. I can't believe this.
I know. Well, I had gone in for this audition for this thing they do called Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Adventure. And it's sort of this show that they do that kind of plays on pop culture of the year. And I had gone in for an audition for that. And they gave me a call back. And I was like, oh my gosh, my first audition at Universal, they gave me a call back. This is so cool. And I come to the callback, and it's a totally different atmosphere than the original audition. Like a totally different type of person was there. And I was like, I don't. Where am I? It's like, you know, because it's like Halloween enthusiasts, and some of them, you know, kind of are more like gothy. Is that? I hope that's not offensive, but that's like the look I would say. So I was like, I definitely don't know if this is the right place, but all right. So I just turned in, I was like, hey, I'm here for this. And they were like, oh yeah, this is the right place. And I go into the audition room and they were like, oh, here's the script. We're gonna have you read some of these lines. And they were like, I'll eat your soul too, pretty boy, like with a maniacal laugh, because it was Mia from Evil Dead.
Right.
And I was like, well, so they think I look like her, so let's just give this a try. Yeah. And yeah, they gave me the role. So I was Mia in Evil Dead for my first year at Halloween Horror Nights. And it was a blast, but I didn't actually go into any of the haunted houses like all of the other casts would tend to do. If they got off in time, they'd be like, let's book it to go to a haunted house. Like, and I'd be like, I'm cool, thanks. You know, it was finally at the end.
You're done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you want to get drinks after? That sounds great. Yeah. But yeah, so finally towards the end, I did end up starting to go, but it was like the last like weekend. So I had a few days to hit a bunch of houses, and I was totally that like scared person that the scare actors knew to get, because you would get the biggest reaction out of, because it was like anytime somebody would come out, I'd like be through the roof sort of thing, you know.
Tell the one you said before about the security guard one.
Right. So I went through the first house, which I don't even know why I went through any other houses after this one, that my friends got me to go through, was Cabin in the Woods. And there was this one scene that year that it was like all elevators around you, and there were these really creepy clowns in them and stuff like that, which I don't like clowns anyways, never liked clowns. And so I'm going through and I'm like, I'm tense, but I feel like I'm holding it together, you know. And next thing I know, the elevator doors part, this clown jumps out at me, and I was like, I mean, everything went blank because I ran so fast. I like dodged everything. I don't know what happened. The next thing I know, I'm like 2 rooms ahead, and I had like accidentally sort of tackled this security guard and was like, I'm so sorry. I just got really scared. My friends are back there. Can I wait with you until they get here? You know? And he was like, sure, ma'am, do whatever you have to do. I was like, thanks so much. And I was like kind of teary-eyed at this point too. So it was great.
Awesome.
But it was enough to leave me wanting more, because I did it 3 more years after that. And now I'm a total haunted house addict. And because as a scare actor, you kind of get this like sick pleasure in like, literally scaring the pee out of people. Right. Like if you've made someone pee, that is a great night.
Successful.
So, I know.
You played like some sort of witch or something. You talking about earlier about how you.
Oh, well, yeah. So my first year when I was Mia, I was. So if for those that haven't seen Evil Dead, there's this scene where she is possessed and her face is very distorted, and it's all like skin is gross and her eyes are bright red, and she's coming out of this floorboard situation, and she's like, he's gonna eat your soul too. Except I had an effects mic, so I didn't have to actually make my voice sound like that. But it was like even more scary and amplified. And I would say the craziest things to people, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was awesome because I had like they'd be looking at me, and I'd be saying all these messed up things to them. And then like the scare in that room was one of my partners. Corey Bolins is another amazing Orlando actor. And he would pop out and just scare the bejesus out of people because they wouldn't, be expecting it. So it was pretty excellent. But yeah, so I did Halloween Horror Nights 3 years in a row. I did a year of the Mardi Gras Parade, which is beads and fun and getting people amped. And then my favorite event that I did at Universal Studios, which I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder. If you guys,
go for it.
Wanted to talk about this,
go ahead.
But I did the grand opening events of Diagon Alley, so the red carpet premiere. For you Harry Potter fans out there, it was awesome because we got to interact with the cast of Harry Potter, and besides the big 3, pretty much everyone was there. And as we're going through the process of rehearsals and our dialect coaching and costuming, we ended up actually in the costumes from the film set itself. So there was a guy that was a few people ahead of me that literally wore an outfit that Draco Malfoy wore. So we were all like, about that sort of thing and excited. And
you said we were also saw somebody's kids. Was it?
Yeah. So Helena Bonham Carter, she plays Bellatrix. Her and Tim Burton were there with their kids. So, inside I'm like, oh my God, there's Helena Bonham Carter. This is crazy. And outside you have to keep it together because you're a witch in Diagon Alley, and you're like, so I'm like, oh, hello muggles, what is that fancy muggle device you have there, sort of thing. And they were really fun and excited that the witches and everybody were talking to the kids loved it.
Right.
But
that's awesome.
So it was a neat experience. And we got to the cast of that event. We got to see Diagon Alley before anybody else did. So aside from the construction workers and the Universal Studios management, we were literally the first people to see it. And we were all just like walking in and totally breathless because it's just this absolutely magnificent scene. I mean, I think within the first 30 seconds of us walking in, the dragon that is on top of Gringotts bank breathed fire. I remember immediately bawling and being like, I'm so lucky to be here. I can't believe this is real life. What's happening? I mean, it was like, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so it was like the ultimate for me.
So like you said, you're trying to keep it together, but yet you're like, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. I can't believe this.
I know.
It was Tim Burton's kids were in there.
Yeah.
Who's there? Okay.
Well, it's because Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton were married.
Right.
I think they've recently got divorced. I don't know. I don't really keep up with that much.
Right. But their kids were, so you got to, and so all the interactions were just amazing, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was super, super cool. We had a blast.
So why don't you talk a little bit about how you found out about Treasure?
So Treasure, so the aforementioned acting studio, Truthful Acting, Chris Williamson was the director of Treasure. And he actually attended an acting class at Truthful Acting Studios because a good director also takes an acting class so they can know how to speak to their actors.
Right. Perfect. Exactly.
Right. So Chris had taken a class there, and he was actually holding the auditions there. So I found out through my mentors and instructors that was happening. And I was like, why not? But it was crazy because I was in my very first acting class ever at the time of the audition. And I was like, I don't think I'm really ready for that. But at the same time, I was like, well, whatever. I mean, it's an experience in the audition room anyway, so why not? So, I went, and I don't know, it was like, for lack of better word, love at first sight, I guess. I don't know. Because Chris is like, oh my gosh, she's totally what as far as look goes, he's like, she's totally what I'm looking for. Because I'm a girly girl, and, Sierra's a girly girl. And and I have a ton of energy. And so Sierra's like this party girl. And so he was like, I got to have you read for this. And so I did. And the read through was super, super fun. And I felt great chemistry. And he called me back. That went great. And then he offered me the role. I remember that I actually signed my contract with Chris and his wife Stephanie in a Chipotle off of Colonial in Orlando. He was like, we got your burrito bowl for you. I was like, thanks, Chris. Awesome. But so I found out through the acting studio about that opportunity, and I'm so unbelievably happy that I was able to be a part of that project because it's been an amazing ride with them.
So how long after going in and reading for the part did you actually find out that you got the part? Was it immediately, or did you have to wait for a while?
No, I didn't have to wait very long because the callbacks I think were that same week, and they made the decisions fairly quickly. So I mean, I don't remember exactly, but it was definitely within like a 2-week span at most that I was offered the role. So it was, I couldn't believe it. Like I said, I was in my first acting class and I was like, I literally have no idea what I'm doing right now. You know?
Right. And you're in with this director, and we all know, at least us that have met Chris and kind of know Chris, I mean, he's a nut, and we're not quite sure if you know, he understands. No, I'm kidding. We love Chris, and we were talking about beforehand that, you know, Chris he's so great with the actors. You know, the fact that
He really is.
You know, he's not, and this is something Ansley mentioned on the show we had her on, was the fact that Chris was hands off when he needed to. It's, a lot of directors, from what Ansley's telling me, is that they're not always there. Some of them are very controlling. You got to do this, especially when she did some of the TV shows. They're like, you know, you need to wear this, you know, and it's like, really, you're going to be down to, you know, stuff like that. It's like, but for what she says, like Chris was like, we're going this way, and kind of, he was able to be sort of the director, I think, that many of them was hoping he would be. Is that kind of a way to put that? Or okay,
absolutely. Chris is a director, exactly like Ansley said. Like he knows how to convey what he wants, you know, to the actor, and sort of speaking our language, but at the same time, he gives us artistic freedom. So he's not a micromanager, because I don't know, I feel like you're really cheating the project. I mean, you cast these people for a reason, right? So to micromanage their acting, you're not allowing them to really live the life. And Chris allowed us to do that, you know, to live the lives of these characters. And, you know, if we were going in a direction that maybe wasn't what he had pictured, he always found a way to respectfully tell us that, and to not only tell us, but also say, this is more of the energy of what I was looking for, so that it could help paint the picture for us better, you know?
Right.
So how close did he tell you, like, to describe a scene? Obviously there's a script. Did he let you just run with it at first and then correct it if it's not his vision, or how descriptive was he?
No, I mean, there are directions in the script, you know, that you know if you have it memorized and when you read through it and all that. But yeah, essentially, he kind of just let us do our own thing. Yeah, and then if it veered off of what he wanted, then he said, "Okay, so that was great, but here's something that I think we could do to make it a little better," sort of thing. So it was really cool. I think as an actor, I appreciate that, because it's a lot easier to bring a sort of truthful quality to the life you're living through that character if that is the environment that the director has created, you know?
That makes sense. We've all seen the movie, of course, and some of the people in the chat room have too. And you kind of wonder when you're watching a movie, because we're not famous actors. So, you know, you got your lines and then all those little facial expressions that make the scene so good. You know, it'd be hard for them to tell you exactly what to do every time.
Right. I mean, it is this, well, with movies too, or TV, it's sort of this crazy thing that, so you have your first take, right? And you're usually very full, or, well, I don't know. I guess some people have very bad first takes. I guess it just depends on the actor. But I know for me, my first take is always like exciting, because I come in so emotionally full, and then you have to like replicate that again, you know, like that same energy, and those, I raised my right hand and I turned to the left, you know, because it makes it easier for the editor if you do that. So, I mean,
right. Well, like the scene where y'all are in the clothing store, and you go in and change clothes, and Ansley's trying to explain about how her situation where she gets arrested. We're not going to get into a lot of the detail of the movie, but you know, that's sort of a weird, or it's interesting, because you're not really on. I mean, it's a bounce back and forth between your conversation with her, but there's a lot of energy in that, because you're asking her all these questions about what happened with the police officer and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and it seems like that would be kind of hard too, to try to replicate and do it again.
Right.
Then,
Well, especially because like I was actually changing too.
right. They do it over and over again.
Yeah. But that's another like interesting thing about movie magic. Like I was actually changing, but I did not feel invaded at all, even though there was like a camera like right here, and it's this really special thing, I think, being in an environment that healthy. It's just it was really easy. Like for my first feature film, I'm like, man, if every project was like this, I am set. Like,
right.
Because everybody was there working hard. Everybody was super professional, but also super open and supportive of one another, right? And so I was very excited to be a part of that. And yeah, that scene, that was a lot of fun, and actually super sweet story. Speaking of Chris being awesome, he actually bought Ansley and I something from.
Let's not go too far with Chris on this, because what's going to happen if we say too much nice things about Chris. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. We love Chris too. I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
Listen, Gary, he's not here to defend himself. All right.
He is not. Go ahead.
But he actually bought Ansley and I something. I think she got a necklace, and he bought me this really cool ring that was like a gold wraparound ring that looked like a safety pin. Every time I wear it, I get compliments on it.
Oh,
and it's like one of my favorite things. And Chris totally, bought that for us. I just thought that was the sweetest thing ever, because he didn't have to do that,
He's a sweetheart.
What a little softie.
He is. He's great.
That's going to make a huge difference I would assume for an actor, is how well you get along with and how the director really treats you on set.
Well, absolutely. Because I've also been on the opposite spectrum now, now that I've gotten several projects under my belt, where like everything falls apart and the director doesn't treat you even like a human being. And I don't understand how to come out of this like this.
Why is Chris here? I don't understand.
Right.
Like you said, it's kind of a thing.
I assume this is the same with the other actresses too, though, right? Because like you and Ainsley's character, Erica, that it's the little things in between you, how you interact with each other, that make it so believable. This part of the story so believable. Is it help a lot, I guess, or did you get along with them, or how was it like working with them, the rest of the actors?
So I pretty much immediately fell in love with Ansley because she's so delightful. And she was great too, because like I said, I was a very new actor at that point, and she was a very seasoned actor. She started acting when she was a kid, so she's kind of grown up in that world, and she's in LA now and totally killing it, which is amazing. But at the time, she just had so much insight to give me about the kind of projects that are great to do, and agents that are great and supportive. And I mean, she just has a vast amount of knowledge about acting, and specifically that market that I was just getting into, which is the Orlando market, and even about these bigger markets. She just has a wealth of information, and she's a wonderful, wonderful person and a super supportive actor. It was easy to have that sort of invisible thread connection with her, because she's a genuine person anyways, and I genuinely connected with her. Yeah, and same thing with like Rebecca and Matt and all of those people. We had such a great cast. I mean, it was incredible.
Did you get to work with the others that you didn't have overlapping scenes with as much, or is it kind of separated out? Or?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. I mean, there were days where, they would film and then it'd be my turn to come in that day. So we'd sort of like cross paths. And sometimes we would stay and watch each other, and, sometimes not. But also, most of those actors, once you start, Orlando's a smaller acting community, right? I mean, there's still a bunch of great actors, but if you start going to different castings, you start meeting people. And so I even knew, John and his girlfriend, Liz, who's also an actor. And I've seen them at several, castings. And Matt is not as much in Orlando. He's more... Well, he was in Atlanta at the time.
Yeah,
Atlanta. Well, yeah, now he's up at, but he was at the time he was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I didn't really I didn't meet him until the table read, but he was another one of those that just had such great energy that you literally can't help but love Matt.
Right.
Like,
Oh yeah.
he's like everyone's best friend. You're like, how could he be everybody's best friend? How is there that much of you to give? Like, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
this is a good time.
So
This is also a good time to mention Matt's going to be on the show in about a month, so that'll be fun to talk to Matt. So yeah, that'll be great. So
I'm excited to tune in for that.
Yeah, we worked it out. We got Matt on in about a month or so. So go ahead. So yeah, he seems so cool and so wonderful to be. You know, he's got so many things he's done now,
right, and he's like so multi-talented because he's an amazing photographer too. If you even look at his Instagram, I mean, like he's got some really nice photos, and he's done headshots for Ansley before too. And she's also a photographer. She's done headshots for him. Like they're both so talented in so many ways. It's incredible.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're on a podcast about geocaching, so we have to ask the question: what did you know about geocaching before this movie?
So I literally had never heard about geocaching until Treasure. Like I looked up at the audition, I saw the word geocache in the script, and I was like, Geocache? Tamagotchi? So I like got on my phone really quick and was like, what is this? So I knew what I was, auditioning for. And I figured it out, in like 2 minutes. A sort of idea of what geocaching was and how to pronounce it, because that was important.
Right.
That's funny.
But it's crazy because it's such an amazing community, like worldwide, and it's this thing that connects all these people that would never otherwise be connected on this planet. And it's like you're sharing a part of yourself with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really cool thing, especially living in this world that is so disconnected because we're on our phones all the time, or I don't know, it's so easy to focus on the negative of the world because there's so many selfish people out there, right? But
Right.
Especially in the geocaching community, it's such a giving community, and it's been so cool getting to learn about that. And also it just takes you on amazing adventures. Like Jesse, you were talking about, where are you going? You're doing some earth cache that is what mountains?
Up in Rocky Mountain National Park. So it's earth caching is
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's everywhere, right? I mean, everywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the world. So it's really cool. And like I said, I've been super excited to learn about it, and I definitely want to do some caching myself.
Right.
I could say I definitely
She's got the
into
window
the
down.
cache.
She does.
Right. I've studied up on it now.
Well, it's funny because there's of course millions of people that play this game all over the world, and one of the funny things within kind of the culture is how you got started in geocaching. And I'd have to say, getting started by starring in a movie about geocaching is a pretty interesting way to get started. Right? That's a pretty cool story. So we usually just, our friends tell us about it or whatever, and then you start. So that's pretty interesting. Do you know how, I guess you do because you're in the industry and everything else, but do you know how big this movie is becoming in the geocaching circles now? Have you heard much about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you type it in on Google, like it pops up on different forums and stuff now, which is really cool. And of course, I talk to Chris all the time. He's a very close friend, and he's like, Shanise, like, I mean, he's like, it got basically produced by this geocaching community to get put on a big screen in this city, and then in this city, and then in this city, and we're talking about it on this show. And so yeah, I mean, Chris has kept us totally informed as to how much it's really blowing up in the geocaching community. And that is just amazing. And that's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean when it's such a great support system. Like, you guys are all like, oh, wow, there's this film about geocaching, and it's a good, family-friendly film. Of course we're going to support it. It wasn't even a question. It was like, yes, what can we do to help this film? And that is just incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because Gary and I were at the debut when they first showed it in Texas, and it was
Right.
At a drive-in, And it was at a precursor for a mega event, which a mega event in geocaching means at least 500 people. So this is a huge audience that all of a sudden is talking about it. And it was in another one in another mega event like that. And it's been more since then, like Chris has been saying. That's a lot of people in one area.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's blowing all of us away, that's for sure.
Well, and a funny thing that it's kind of showing how much it's spreading through is geocaches can be also like puzzles and things like that before you go and solve them.
Right.
Well, there's a few that are starting to pop up now that are based on this movie. So you have to answer questions based on this movie before you can even go out and find them. So it's kind of permeating the culture now too. So
I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
So that's pretty neat. Maybe there's some questions about your character in there that we could give spoilers away in this show, because that would be cheating, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. Give away that. Because we've got to do it, Sierra. That's why I'm calling you Sierra now, because we're going to show it right now.
Do it. I dare you.
So here we go, Shanise. We're going to show this clip, and we're going to let you talk about it. So we're going to talk through it, I guess. So before I show it, so when Shanise and I had a little, we did a little pre-show meetup just to kind of check on, make sure we're on the same wavelength as far as what we were doing for the show. And so one of the first things I asked Shanise was about her character Sierra, and I said, Sierra is kind of, how'd you put it about Sierra? You said,
I said she's such a priss.
Right, she is.
She is.
So
it's like the perfect way to describe her.
So here's the scene, and this is the one people are talking about in the chat room too. But
oh, really? That's funny.
Yes, so there you are with Ansley, Erica, and going geocaching, and so you really did play this really well, I think, because you're kind of interested. I mean, it's your friend. You look, you get the nod, All right.
I'll play this game with you.
Sort of. She does a little sea-towing. What are you doing? Cash in. And you're like, I love the look on your face.
Trash in. What is it? Trash in, cash out?
Cash in, trash out.
Cash in, trash out.
Right. The frog. Everybody loves the frog. People.
I know, especially because it's like this tiny little baby frog, too. She freaked out about.
She's into it, and you're not doing any help. You're not helping at all. She just get her phone out to check the cords, and you're like, come on. Oh, see, you could have been looking for this.
Don't we have better things to do?
What are we doing?
What is that? It's so tiny. What is that tiny thing?
What's great about it, too, is you're not dressed for geocaching at all.
Not at all. Not even close.
You have these big earrings on and these I
know
boots.
And what's funny is how unbelievably accurate that is. If people have taken other people out geocaching, that's very, very accurate.
Hey, she wore camo. The mini skirt is camo. All right.
That's right.
It could be it could blend into the environment. That's as outdoorsy as Sierra gets. Okay, combat boots and a camo mini skirt.
That's outdoorsy gets. That's awesome. It is. It's crazy that like I said, you played that so perfectly. You really did.
Oh, thank you so much. She was a lot of fun.
It's now, not every movie, of course, is shot in order. So was this scene shot early on?
Are movies ever shot in order?
No, I don't think they ever. No, I guess they could have just
what about
happened.
Birdman? They did one big shot the whole time.
That's true. So it could be. So was this particular one that we just showed? Was that fairly early on in the shooting, or was this later on? You came back into this scene, or do you remember?
It was pretty early on in the shooting, because the weather was good and we were so the very first couple days actually got rained out, and that's when I wasn't filming. The other people were filming, and they got rained out and they couldn't do anything for I think they were held back 2 or 3 days.
Right.
but the weather was good then, and then we focused more on like the house party sort of scenes later on. So this is before that. So yeah, this was only like, I don't know, maybe day 2 or 3 filming for me.
Mm-hmm. And we're not going to show up, but we talked about it before the show. But which is your reaction to some of the homeless was priceless.
Just despicable.
Despicable. They smell. Well, of course they're going to smell Sierra.
I know. They don't have showers. Like, I know. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, Sierra, you're just the worst. You're just.
How does it feel acting a scene like that? Do you feel weird saying lines like that, or I mean, I guess that's acting, though, right?
No, you don't, because you find a way to connect, yourself with that person at their core, right? Like, Sierra's still a human being. She still has things that make her happy and make her sad and make her angry, just like you do, just like I do. And it's about finding out who the character is at their core, and knowing who you are at your core and figuring out how those two things align and then how they differ, and then figuring out how to, live the life of Sierra truthfully.
Right.
And so, nothing I said during filming felt out of place for me, because that's just who I was. That's the life I was living, was Sierra's. And yeah, I mean, after watching it afterwards, I'm like, man, I can't believe that, but during the filming process, no, it's just, I guess that's what it means to be an actor, is finding the truth in each character that you're portraying.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to describe it. I don't think I've heard it described that way before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And something we talked about beforehand too is the fact that if as an audience you can connect with, like Shanise, your character was like, at first you don't really know her, and then all of a sudden you hate her, and then we're not going to make spoilers, but later on you like her, and so I can't even mention that to Ansley, because Ansley goes through a transformation.
Oh,
and you
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because you watched it in the beginning of the movie. You're like, what is up with her? And she describes herself.
She's such a delinquent.
She is a delinquint, and you're not helping. You're not helping at all.
I know. I'm the worst influence ever.
You're in trouble. Call her up. Hey, let's go out again. You're like, I really shouldn't. Like, Sierra, don't test her. Yeah, and of course she did, so it's great. But
the devil on her shoulder.
Yeah, it's awesome. But just that idea that I think we've all watched a movie, and they wanted us. The movie wanted us to feel that about a character, but it was either poorly acted, or was poorly directed, or poorly written, or something. And so by the end, somebody might ask you about the movie, and they say, "Well, hey, what'd you think about this character?" And you're like, "I don't know. I guess I was supposed to hate him, but I didn't care much about. I was too busy."
Right. If you're indifferent, that's not good.
No, right. You gotta, and so it's important, and like we talked about before the show, that it's a different experience that you were talking about, of playing a different role and playing, somebody who's we gotta hate for a while.
Right.
Right.
I mean, the first time I read the script, I was like, God, she's such an a-hole. I'm not going to actually swear right now, but
yeah, exactly.
She is an a-hole. And but you find a way. I mean, as an actor, you can't judge the role you're cast in. You can't judge that character, because, like we just talked about, I mean, you have to find their truth, and it's really cool, and it tests out your skills as an actor if you can find a way to live that life truthfully when it's so opposite of who you are, because like, yeah, I have a lot of energy, but I don't have like the same interests that Sierra has, or like I, for one, am very passionate about helping the homeless, where Sierra wouldn't be caught dead, doing that. She's like, I'd literally rather go to jail than like be in it, you know,
Yes.
than
Yes.
like volunteer for homeless outreach, you know?
Right.
So, but it was a lot of fun to be able to step outside my comfort zone and be somebody that wasn't like me at all.
Right. Yeah, very cool.
So here's the question that's on everyone's minds. In the scene we showed was the first time your character went geocaching. Have you actually gone out and found any geocaches since the movie?
Dude, I haven't. It's like been on my heart and my agenda. And honestly, I kind of know a good amount about geocaching now because I did have to, you know, sort of, this is me Googling. This is what Googling looks like. I went on and I did some research, but I haven't done a cache yet. And it's like, I feel like a fraud. Like I need to cache, you know, I mean, although I guess in the film, I don't really, like she goes out there, but does she really do anything?
Right.
But no, I really want to. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You know what? And you guys will be the first to know.
Okay, good. Yes. Good.
Follow me on the Twitters and I will tweet
Report back. Yeah, tweet it out. You know, do a little Periscope or something.
When in doubt, tweet it out.
That's right.
There's probably one within a 1/10 of a mile of you right now.
Right. We need to look. You know, we'll find one for you. We'll look in Vancouver.
Well, I know, right? Like, I need to just contact Nick and be like, "Yo,
that would be
let's cache right now."
We will do that. We will do that.
There actually are. I've been up through there. There actually are some interesting ones in your area.
Well, I mean, the Northwest is super beautiful, and it's, you know, like the nature, and I would imagine that there would just be like really cool ones to find out there.
She's close enough. Shanise will send you the information. You can go to the very first geocache ever hidden. There's a plaque in the ground.
Ever hidden? Like ever like
yeah.
Anywhere?
Yeah, it was the very first one ever hidden. And they put a plaque there in honor of the first geocache. I mean, it's a nice metal plaque in the ground. And there's a cache nearby. It's like a tribute to the first one. So, and it's near Portland, Oregon.
Guys.
I know. So if you're near Portland, right?
I am. I'm 20 minutes away from Portland.
See, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And then you
bada
can
bing, bada boom. You know what?
take pictures.
You guys made this happen. Geocache Talk made this happen.
There you go.
Actually, you're also really close to another really interesting one that I don't want to give away the spoiler of it, but it's real close. I've done it. It's close by where you are. And it's you have to go to a phone booth, like an old-fashioned phone booth.
Ooh.
And the phone booth is part of the cache. I don't want to spoil what you have to do. It's pretty famous.
Yeah.
But you have to manipulate the phone somehow to solve the puzzle. It's pretty and full-size phone, you know, like the old school, you know, coin phones or whatever.
That's so cool.
Coin phone, yeah.
I'm in there like swimwear.
There you go. It's good. It's bananas, Shanise. It's bananas.
It's bananas. It's like my favorite thing to say. It's true.
That's her favorite word. Well,
bananas.
Well, as we start to wrap up tonight, you know, it's something we really did talk about, and the fact that I can speak for the geocaching community because this is hands down the best geocaching movie ever made. And there's
That's awesome.
There's been some Splinterheads they mentioned they had geocaching in it, but it wasn't that great of a movie. And there've been some other attempts, and it's mentioned in and we have on our website in case people go look. We do have a list of like times that it's been on in a TV show. I mean, Jesse, do you remember? What are some places that we?
The most recent one I've seen is a show called iZombie, and then there were some other, you know, like CSI and Law and Order and other shows like that. And then there's a couple of it's in a couple of movies, but just like the people in the chat room have said that have seen the movie, there's other movies with geocaching in it, but Treasure is good even without the geocaching. So it's a good movie, even if, you know, it's not the geocaching crowd. It's actually a good movie. So
yeah, right. Yeah, it makes you feel
distinction
things.
There. It's not just a gimmick.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really amazing to hear. You know, that it's being so well received. I mean, it was definitely a passion project for Chris. Like he literally put his heart and soul into it, and you know, he got us all rallied in there. I mean, we all really loved it. Everybody that worked on it. I mean, I'm speaking for a lot of people right now, but I still keep in contact with those people, so I feel like I can't. yeah, it was absolutely incredible, and I'm so grateful to have been a part of it, and thank you guys for your support. And if you haven't bought Treasure yet, it is available for sale on Blu-ray. Yeah,
There
exactly.
There
At
it is.
treasurefilm.com. So, and the more people we get buying it, the more likely it is that it's going to be mass produced and distributed. So, then more people can know about geocaching, and we can build this community.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool.
In fact, good thing you mentioned that, Shanise, because we're giving away this very Blu-ray, and I had people retweet.
Retweet, yeah.
You retweeted it. I can't give you the movie.
No, it's okay. I already have it.
I excluded you from it, but you did retweet.
I just got excited, and I
appreciate
hit retweet.
That's right. I'm gonna retweet this. This is awesome. But I did go through everybody. Did a random.org, and Francis Sabero, you were the lucky winner.
Francis.
He's in the chat room. That's even better.
Is.
So he's in the chat room. So Francis, you did win it. I'll be mailing this to you, buddy, real soon. And as Shanise says, you can buy the Blu-ray or DVD. Some people wanted a DVD because they don't. Some people don't use. They don't have Blu-ray, but they can buy a DVD. It's off the website. It's off our website. You can go to geocachetalk.com, or you can go to Treasure the Movie, where you're going to end up. You'll end up there anyway.
It's true.
TreasureTheMovie.com. It's $19.99 US, and you can buy it even if you live anywhere in the world at $26.99, and you can buy the movie. And this is awesome. So, thank you so much, Shanise, for being on tonight.
Oh, no, thank you so much, Gary. I had such a great time, and Sydney and Jesse, you guys were great. Thank you for this opportunity.
You bet. It was great to have you on and talk about this. So, coming up on the show next week, we're going to be talking about the new virtual caches that are out there. There'll be an interesting discussion. There's 4,000 that should be out there eventually. I haven't looked at the list. We'll look at it before the show, and we'll probably talk a little about the new guidelines. We did do a 0.5 show and talk about the guidelines, but I think we've got some updates, and I think it's a fascinating topic. Even though Jesse and I kind of talked about it, Sydney wasn't able to be there, so we're gonna get Sydney's take, right? Sydney, you get to talk about. Yeah. We'll talk
I'll have to really read through what they wrote and pick out some stuff.
Yeah, about burying caches. That's a big topic.
I'll make notes and everything with red pen.
Oh, awesome! You're gonna get really into it. That's perfect.
It'll be great.
In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about GC Droid. We're going to talk about iOS because we're all iOS users, but there's a whole community of people that geocache that don't use Apple.
What?
I know.
What?
They use this thing. They use this thing called a Droid phone. I'm not familiar with the Droid.
Like the
phone,
robot?
Is it like
the robot?
Push button or something? I don't know. Okay.
So Android users can really enjoy this show in 2 weeks. We're going to have on the guy who is the owner and curator of the GC Droid app. So that'll be fun, talking to him about that. And then in 3 weeks, Ron Smith's going to be on the show. Johnny Cash. So we talk about him playing music and doing vlogs, and he's a character. So you can't miss that show. That's in 3 weeks. So, well, folks, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Geocache Talk for the show. I am at Gary Slinkard. Jesse is at Memphis_Mafia. Sydney is at ShermanatorGC. Shanise is at Jordan Shanise.
Dude, I don't know why it did that when I first signed up for Twitter, but I just haven't changed it.
You are. But you're out there.
I swear I know how to Twitter, I swear.
Yeah. But you're active on Twitter, so follow her and you hear about her, everything going on in some things we weren't able to get to tonight. That just keep tabs on Shanise. You gotta see what's coming up in the future. We can't talk about some of it, so it's hush hush. But keep your eye open out there. And then our Facebook page, facebook.com/geocachetalk. Show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, as well as the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button below so you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. Until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, Shanise. Go watch Treasure and then go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.